Okay guys, in this part of the country it's so cold today, but we're still coming out for you making these videos because we've got to keep it coming. So we're going to start, guys, with some engine issues. Now don't forget, these are a great car, but because they're a little bit old now, we have seen loads of issues with them, and I'm going to let you in today on some of the common issues that you need to be looking out for if you own one, or you're looking to buy one, or if you just like them. So here goes. The first one we're going to talk about, guys, is probably no surprise to you, is the rod bearings. So on the E92 M3, guys, the V8 engine is ram-packed inside this engine bay. Common fault with these, guys, is the rod bearings. Now from factory, the bearings that were used were of a poor material. BMW know this, but guess what? They'll never admit it. So we at G-Tech Motorworks do keep the ACL race bearings in stock, which are a better material and last longer. The main cause for these failing as well is the design of the engine. It's a V8 engine and it's always snatching, and if you don't warm them up properly, guys, and you just basically start abusing them from cold, you will have premature wear on your rod bearing. So that's something to keep an eye on, guys, okay? Another few common issues we've seen with the E92 M3 are Vanos issues in general. So you'll be plodding along and it'll misfire, or you will get a lack of power or an engine light on usually. So Vanos solenoids are quite common for these, guys. Again, down to general maintenance, oil changes and regular maintenance can keep these things going, but it is just a sensor and they can fail. So Vanos solenoids on the inlet and the exhaust, they're quite a common problem on these as well. I personally used to own one of these, and one of the issues I had, and I've seen across a few of the customers that have been to G-Tech, the Vanos adjustment units, guys, okay? Now, you will need an in-depth diagnosis tool to test this, to find out what the angle is of the Vanos adjustment unit. So it's got one on the inlet side, one on the exhaust. Now, it will keep throwing up a misfire for inlet Vanos. That's all it'll say. Again, like I said to you, you will either need to take it to a specialist like ourselves or to another workshop to have that, you know, live data check to see what angle your Vanos adjustment unit is at. Quite a costly repair. They're in the circa of around £1,200 to £1,300 from main dealer. I wouldn't fit a used one. Okay, next, guys, we've got this secondary air map sensor, which is built into this hose here, which attaches to the intake elbow onto the plenum chamber. This runs all the way along the back of the plenum chamber and right round to the other side. Now we've had quite a few of them, guys, where this map sensor basically fails. Now it's used on startup, so when you start the car up, the secondary air pump will engage, and that sensor basically monitors what pressure's going through the system. They do fail, quite common, we replace them all the time. Unfortunately, they are a part of this pipe, you can't get them separately, so that's another common fault. Okay guys, we are still on the engine common problems for the E92 M3. Another one we've seen here at G-Tech, guys, is a water pump. Now BMW water pumps, guys, guess what? They're not bulletproof and they don't last forever, okay? So the bearings fail inside the water pumps, they throw the belt off and usually cause a massive horrible noise, and if you drive it for long enough it can cook your engine. So don't, if you get any sign of coolant loss or temperature warning, stop the car, take it to a specialist garage and get it checked out. Another common fault. Now whilst we are on the cooling system, guys, listen to this carefully. There's not many people that know about this. Obviously we're a specialist in the game, we love these E92 M3s, okay, and we know a lot about them. Now whilst we're on the coolant system subject, I'm going to go into something that not a lot of people have touched on this subject, so I will. So like I just said, the water pump bearings fail. Another very common issue on these that we have seen, okay, is the thermostat. Now this will also link back to the rod bearings, and I will explain why. It's all down to temperature. Now the thermostat on these, to run efficiently, usually runs and opens at around 79 degrees to allow the coolant system to run properly and the coolant to circulate around the engine. We have basically seen the thermostats opening at around 70 degrees. Now what that does is it makes the engine run cooler, which in turn basically is not letting the engine get up to temperature. The viscosity of the oil is a lot thicker. It should be thinner when it's hotter so it can circulate around the engine. Again, it can have a factor, guys, on your rod bearings. So please, I will stress one thing. The only problem with these, guys, is a bit of a shit thing. They don't have a coolant temperature gauge inside. They have an oil temperature gauge inside. Now, the way to check it, there is a hack which you can basically check, and you press a few buttons and you can get a hidden menu on the system, and you can check the coolant temperature. Other thing I would advise, guys, keep a little handheld diagnosis tool, go into live data and just check what your coolant temperature is. Should be running at around 79, 80 degrees, okay? And that's when it should be running at optimum. If it's running less, you will have fueling issues, because the colder it runs, the engine will dump more fuel into it, and obviously it will be crap on fuel economy and efficiency. Like I said about the oil, the main thing with these guys, you've got to get them up to temperature, and then you can give them some abuse, because it is a race engine, right? This is engineered for racing, but it's got a few flaws. You've got to get it up to temperature, and like I said, the thermostat is a big factor for that. So keep a massive eye on that, guys, okay? Any questions, you can contact GTEC Motorworks or DM us on our socials. Okay, guys, guess what? We're still on the common problem faults for the engine. Big list. They're a great car, but big list. Guys, another very common fault on these, throttle actuators. There's two of them. One on this side, one on this side. With it being a V8, there's two of everything. Quite a difficult job to do, guys. If you fancy doing it at home, crack on, nothing but respect for you. But big job. This bad boy here, which looks like a six-pack of Goliath, needs to come off. This is the plenum chamber. The throttle actuators are buried deep inside the V of the engine, guys. A lot of labor to remove them. We do them all the time. So if you need anything, guys, click the link below, GTEC Motorworks, on our website, or give us a call. We can get that sorted for you, even if it's just advice. But pretty decent repair to do. It's quite difficult. So that's another issue with them. Another common issue, guys, with the E92 M3, like with all BMWs, rocker cover gaskets. We see loads of them, okay? Rocker cover gaskets, keep an eye on them. You'll usually see a dribble. If you get it on the exhaust side, you'll get a burning smell onto the exhaust manifolds, and it will smell like a bloody barbecue. So keep an eye on that as well. Guys, whilst we're in the area of the throttle actuators, another major component of the E92 M3, which is buried deep inside the V, is the starter motor. Now, I'll be honest with you, it's an absolute pig of a job, but we do them all the time, guys. So keep an eye on them. Starter motors are quite a common failure on these, guys. They do fail. So if you have long starts, or basically it's clicking and it's not starting, starter motor issues, another common one. Now, guys, another one that's basically circulating around the web at the moment are injectors. You must have heard of it. If you own one of these, or you're in forums, or you're looking at buying one, let me fill you in. So, guys, we've had a few issues where the injectors are staying open and pumping loads of fuel into the cylinder, that particular cylinder, and basically causing a massive explosion. Bang, too much fuel, big explosion, problem, catastrophic damage to the engine. Okay, guys, we've seen 3 or 4 of them, so they're not massively common, but they are beginning to get common. Okay, if you have any issues with running or anything like that, you can do a check on your injectors just to make sure that they're opening and closing properly and they're fueling efficiently. If not, we recommend to replace them all. Okay, moving on, another common issue, guys, as with most BMW petrols, coil plugs and spark plugs. Again, they break down in this horrible cold weather. If it's too hot, they break down. So again, keep an eye on them. You usually get a misfire and the engine won't run properly. Another common fault. Okay, guys, so another common issue with the E92 M3 is the O2 sensors. They quite commonly fail. Ah, look, we've got an audience. Hi, guys. Anyway, guys, moving on. O2 sensors. Quite a common issue with the E92 M3. Okay, they do fail. Post-cat and pre-cat, they do fail. So keep an eye on them. Usually throws up an engine light. Okay guys, another common issue that we've seen on the E92 M3, where the exhaust meets up to just under the manifold, there's some round circular lead gaskets which are crushable. Now, a common issue that we used to see when I was working at BMW, because it's got 4 exhausts at the back, people used to reverse and clip the curb. What that used to do was push the exhaust forward and bend these gaskets. Now, that obviously leaks as exhaust gases and causes a horrible sound, okay? They do generally fail over time anyway, but that's one of the issues I know about, because there's 4 exhausts at the back. If they're quite low, hit the curb, bend the exhaust, they usually fail, but they do fail over time anyway. So that's another thing, guys, you should be looking out for on the E92 M3. Okay guys, so finally we're moving on to some mechanical common faults that we've seen with the E92. The list is not as big as the engine one, but it's still a bit of a list. So guys, we have seen these E92 M3s with some gearbox leaks on the DCT gearboxes, okay? So literally simple fix, guys. It's a sump off, gaskets built inside with a filter, change it. You can get the kit from BMW and use the proper oil, torque it back up, problem sorted, okay? Another mechanical issue we've seen with these guys, general maintenance kind of stuff, wheel bearings, okay? We've also seen the suspension leaks on the EDC, electronic dampening control. So the common stuff, guys, springs, shock absorbers, top mounts, things like that. They're all general running things for any car, and especially the E92 M3. So we've seen loads of them, guys, okay? But that's it for mechanical. Okay guys, just a couple of electrical faults now on the E92 M3. One that we do see all the time, and I don't know why, for some reason it's always on the bloody front. ABS sensors on these E92 M3s, we always seem to get them on the front, so that's quite a common issue with these. You may have experienced that as well, so you agree with me. I can see you there nodding your head, right? So that's another issue, electrical issue with these. Another one we have seen, guys, which is another common issue with most BMWs, the steering wheel squib, which is basically the ribbon cable behind the steering wheel. Again, it is just a ribbon cable. They do wear down over time and you will lose your steering functions. Another common issue, we've seen that quite a bit with these. A big one now, guys, and most of you behind that screen will now be saying, that's happened to mine, or I know someone that's had this problem, is a thing called the FRM module, also known as the footwell module. Now the footwell module, guys, is responsible for all your headlights, your wipers, and these kind of things. It's basically a big fat relay where all the information goes through, and then the vehicle is able to control the lights, wipers, and things like that. Now they do fail inside, guys. We see loads of these weekly, not just on the E92, but most BMWs. On the newer ones, they're known as the front end module as well, okay? So the FRM modules do fail on them. Keep an eye on that, guys. That's it for electrical. We are moving on to mods, my favorite part. Okay guys, so we're moving on now to my favorite part, which is the modification side. I love modifying cars, and those of you who know me, you know I love it. Guys, E92 M3, naturally aspirated, comes straight out of the factory, 420 horsepower, so it's not a slow car. There's a big V8 under that hood, right? Naturally aspirated, no superchargers, no turbos, just how an M-Power car should be, okay? So, what's the modifications? We do loads of these, guys. Biggest mods, I'll tell you, the best mods, bang for buck. GTS gearbox tune, not expensive, right? We do that here at G-Tech Motorworks, guys. Click the link below or give us a call. We can get you booked in for that. We usually do them when people come from all over the UK to have the rod bearings done. We do the GTS gearbox tunes if they are a DCT box. Very, very big improvement on gear changes, guys. Excellent. Guys, another mod you can do on these, along with the GTS gearbox tune, is the Stage 2 remap, okay, with the catless test pipes underneath, okay? So what that basically does is we have the test pipes which remove the cats and we do a stage 2 remap on the vehicle, which takes the vehicle up to around 450 horsepower. So guys, it's not a massive gain from standard power of 420, but do not forget, this is naturally aspirated engine with no turbos and superchargers, and it's a linear power engine, so it's packed with power anyway. So with a turbo engine you would get considerable amount of power with the tuning and remaps. With this you only get a little bit more, but it's still, you can feel it, the throttle and everything, and the torque is a lot more greater. Another thing I was going to say to you guys is the suspension. Now with the EDC system on these standard, it's great anyway, yeah, but people do operate them if they're taking them on tracks. They put coilovers and things like that on them. Again, click the link below. G-Tech Motorworks can do that for you. We can source the suspension and fit it for you. Now if you are crazy enough, guys, like I am, we might be doing this in the future. A friend of mine down south has actually got one of these. Charlie from the M3 Mental Group, I hope you're watching this. He told me of someone that has basically done a 4.6 or 4.8 stroker kit conversion on this, guys. Essentially what that does is basically changes the crankshaft and the conrods and makes the cubic capacity of the engine bigger. So we have seen these near 500 horsepower, and the torque and power increases by that much. So quite a crazy mod to do, stroker kit on these, if you are mad enough. But that's it from me, guys, here at G-Tech Motorworks. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Again, please remember, all the common faults that I've discussed here doesn't mean that you're going to get every single one with your car. You might not get any of them ever, but it's always worth knowing, guys. We see loads of these, so if we see the problems, guess what? We're going to tell you about the problems. So if you own one or you're looking to buy one, you know what you're looking for. Stay tuned to G-Tech Motorworks, guys. Please like, share and subscribe. Keep following us. Thank you for all your support. We're growing daily, guys, on YouTube. Please give us feedback. A lot of you are posting and commenting on our videos. We love that. Engage with us. Tell us what you want and we will deliver. G-Tech Motorworks, guys, Derby's BMW, Volkswagen, Audi Group specialists.